In school, I was the perfect student. Teachers would give me assignments and I would do them, on time, every time. At home, my parents gave me chores and I would do them, albeit a little grudgingly sometimes. Then I graduated, moved out, got a job. And at work, it was the same thing. My boss gave me tasks and I completed them. I was following the script perfectly. Study hard, get good grades, land a steady job, start saving for a house, and maybe eventually start a family. And that's how we're taught right from the beginning. Not how to think for ourselves, but how to follow instructions. And I was a good little cog in the machine, ticking off boxes on a life checklist that somebody else had written. And for a while, that brought comfort, the kind that comes from not having to ask the big questions. All the steps were already laid out for me. All I had to do was walk them. But then, cracks started appearing in the script. This job, the one that I'd worked so hard for, wasn't anything like what I was promised. I'd studied my ass off in college to become an engineer. I gave up my social life for hours in the library. I pulled all-nighters cramming for brutal exams in electromagnetics, probability, differential equations, subjects that felt impossibly abstract, but were supposed to unlock a promising future. And all that just to end up sitting at a desk all day doing glorified IT work. I was filling out spreadsheets, chasing down signatures, and updating ancient computers with CD-ROMs. CD-ROMs. I mean, do you guys even remember what Windows XP is? I remember thinking, I learned Laplace transforms for this. A trained monkey could literally do my job. And this job was supposed to be one of the best engineering roles on the island. And maybe it was if you were climbing the corporate ladder. But I wasn't climbing anything. I felt like a grunt, a cog in the system. I was stuck in newbie hell, doing menial tasks and learning nothing new. Meanwhile, the world around me had changed. Houses were unaffordable, job security was a myth. The old promise, study hard, get a good job, live a good life, started to sound like a joke. The path that I was on wasn't just unfulfilling, it felt completely broken. And that's when something inside of me snapped, or maybe it clicked. I realized that if I keep following this script, and one day I might wake up and realize that I never really lived a life that was truly mine. So I threw the script away. But no one tells you what comes next. When you decide to leave the old path behind, the one with grades and performance reviews, clear benchmarks, you don't just lose the comfort of predictability, you lose the entire framework for how you measure progress, how you decide what to do, or even what matters. I wanted to build something of my own, a business, a creative project, even just a YouTube video, but I felt completely lost. No one was assigning tasks, no one was assigning deadlines. There were no gold stars, no instant feedback, no guardrails to keep me on track. There was no one telling me what to do anymore. Just open space and total freedom. And that freedom, the one thing that I wanted so badly, was absolutely paralyzing. When someone else sets the rules, the schedules, and the standards, all you have to do is show up and follow them. But when that structure disappears, when you try to create something of your own, a business, a passion project, your content, that responsibility falls completely on you. And suddenly you realize you don't know how to lead yourself. When I quit my job for the first time to start my own company, I remember walking down the hallway for the last time with a badge in my hand and my heart pounding in my chest. The lights overhead felt a little too bright, the air a little too still, and it felt like a dream. I literally couldn't stop smiling, even though I knew I should act a little more somber as I was escorted out of the building. I finally felt free. I felt like I was walking out of a cage and into my destiny. But I also felt terrified. I didn't know anyone who had done entrepreneurial work before. I didn't know what to expect, and my parents were quite disapproving. They only knew steady, stable jobs and were naturally worried that I was throwing away those cushy, consistent paychecks to do, well, even I didn't know exactly what that was yet. But I thought I was ready. I would make it work. I would do whatever it takes to succeed. I would show my parents and whoever else doubted me that I could do it. It was cinematic in my head. This was the moment that everything would change. This was the moment that I would take charge of my life. I was going to build something from scratch, something that I could call my own. No more office politics, no more micromanagement, no more bullshit paperwork or 3-hour-long meetings about delayed projects. And that feeling of elation, of freedom, and opportunity lasted about a day. Because the very next morning, I sat at my desk, opened my laptop, and froze. There was no syllabus, no Slack messages, no checklists, just a blank screen. And for the first time, I realized just how much I had relied on other people telling me what to do. I didn't know what to work on first, or how long it should take, or what done even looked like. I kept jumping between ideas, rewriting to-do lists, downloading new productivity apps, watching startup videos, telling myself that researching was the same thing as progress. Without that external pressure, with no one telling me what to do, I procrastinated. I overplanned and under-executed. But deep down, I knew I was just hiding. I wasn't moving, I was circling. Was I just lazy, unmotivated, or was I terrified that what I built wouldn't be good enough? It hit me hard. I didn't lack discipline, I lacked clarity. And without anyone to hold me accountable, that clarity became everything. The truth is, most of us were never taught how to work for ourselves. We were taught how to follow rules, not how to write our own. When you work for yourself, the reward is vague and the consequences are delayed. There's no boss breathing down your neck, no grades, no paycheck at the end of the week. It requires a different skill set. Self-direction, the ability to guide your own actions without being told what to do. It's choosing what matters and following through, even when no one's watching. Prioritization, the skill of knowing what deserves your time and focus. It's looking at a dozen to-dos and confidently picking the one that actually moves the needle. Internal motivation, the drive to act not because someone is rewarding you or pressuring you, but because the work means something to you personally. Friedrich Nietzsche once said, "He who has a strong enough why can bear almost any how." And that's what it comes down to. If your reason is meaningful enough, you'll find the motivation to push through almost any challenge. And those don't come automatically just because you want it bad enough. Those have to be practiced, trained, built like any other muscle. I'm still figuring things out, but here are a few things that help me build self-discipline and get things done, even when no one was watching. 1. Make external rules internal. This is the part I struggle with most, respecting my own deadlines. So I had to find a way to hold myself accountable when no one else would. What helped was starting a Why I Missed It log. First, I write the deadline down, not just in my head. Then I create a calendar event for it. If I miss it, I write an entry, what I was supposed to do, why I didn't do it, and what I'll change next time. It turns vague disappointment into a clear reflection, and that makes a big difference. 2. Create artificial accountability. My friend and I do weekly check-in calls where we go over what we said we'd do and what actually happened. It's brutally simple. Did I finish a video or not? And honestly, that discomfort has helped me change. If you don't have someone like this, find one. It doesn't have to be formal, just someone you can be honest with. 3. Keep it painfully simple. I used to open my laptop and be paralyzed by choice. 10 good ideas, no clear priority. So now I just focus on one thing each day, just one. I've tried many productivity apps and none of them worked until I focused on the next single step and started from there. 4. Reflect weekly. I treat my Sundays like a performance review with my future self. I journal about what I did, what I avoided, and what I want to try differently next week. It's my chance to recalibrate and to remind myself why this all matters. None of these habits work unless you treat your time like it matters. That was a turning point for me, learning to take my solo work seriously, even when no one was watching. I still struggle. Some days I crush it, but other days I get too distracted or I find ways to distract myself. But I realize that building your own system is part of the work. You're not just building a business, you're building yourself into the type of person who shows up even without being told. And that takes time. It's okay if it's messy, and it's okay if you fail, But the skill of leading yourself is probably the most valuable thing you can learn, especially if you're doing creative or entrepreneurial work. If no one told you what to do today, that's a good thing. You're free to set your own goals and make your own decisions. But that freedom is hard. You must learn to lead yourself, one promise at a time. If you're on this journey too, then drop a comment and let me know what's been the hardest thing for you. And if this resonated with you, subscribe for more videos on building real discipline, structure, and self-leadership. Let's keep building.